Hello, parents and carers of Year 7. Welcome to our first virtual Year 7 Meet the Tutor event. My name's Ben Starkey. I'm Assistant Principal here at Chobham Academy. Part of my remit at Chobham Academy is to oversee the Head of Year team, and I'm currently stepping in for the Head of Year 7 at the moment until they return on maternity leave. The reason for today's Meet the Tutor event, now we're got a bit of a better grasp on the technology that we can use, is for you to get to know some of your Year 7, some of the Year 7 tutors, and just to get to know a bit more information that we have within the school. What I'm going to go through is quite generic, some information that we feel is important for parents to know. You'll then break off into your tutor groups and use that second link that we sent you to meet your tutor. So we'll get underway. So just to talk you through the Academy leadership team, obviously we've got Mr. Whitworth, who's the principal, along with 3 vice principals. Each of those vice principals line manage a number of assistant principals who all oversee different aspects in the school. So, for example, I've already mentioned I oversee the Head of Year team, but I also oversee the specialism subjects such as music, art, drama, PE, etc. Miss Reese, for example, she line manages a sixth form, and Miss Haig line manages business, economics, and the assembly programme, along with the leadership team, leadership events that we've put in place. So each assistant principal has an area that they are in control of and contribute to how the whole academy works, along with all the wonderful teachers we have here at Chobham Academy. Just to point you in some directions, obviously the website. Now the website is a source of all the information we have. Everything is posted to the website that we feel necessary for parents to know about, from academy events to the various policies, along with links for a lot of the events that happen that take place. We also have the YouTube channel, the Twitter account. So we're trying to improve our parental communication through all these capacities that we can. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is attendance. Now, attendance at Chobham Academy, our target is 96%. Year on year, we make that target. We have high expectations with attendance. Our current Year 7 attendance is 95%, which, given the circumstances, is pretty good. Year 7 so far this year, and I'm touching wood right now, have been very lucky in that we haven't had a huge amount of COVID cases that have taken Year 7s out of school, along with general good Year 7 attendance. The coloured blocks you can see there is what we're expecting. So obviously we expect 98 to 100% is expected attendance. And once it drops below 96.4, that can really start to affect achievement. There's been a number of studies on how attendance affects achievement longer term. And that's when we have certain interventions either by the Head of Year or the Education Welfare Officer who may intervene at that point. Generally speaking, we're quite happy at the moment with Year 7 attendance given the situation. However, pre-COVID and post-COVID, our target would be 96%. Communications. Again, I'm talking this from a pre and post-COVID world. Letters are more frequent now because we have to update you more frequently given the goings-ons. However, week to week, letters will go home by email every Monday during term time. Obviously, you got the letters for this, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So it's obviously something you check is the emails. For us, it's an incredibly important communication for the events. And then we celebrate a lot of the events that we do either on the internet and, as mentioned, on Twitter and on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed to either of them, please do. Please also make sure that if you aren't getting any of our correspondence regularly, that you've got the correct email address, and that can be done by contacting reception. So who to contact and when? This is often a source of misunderstanding. So I'm just going to run through this now. Your tutor is your child's tutor is the first port of call if you have a pastoral concern. So whether that's about their well-being, their behaviour, their attendance, please do contact their tutor. You have their information already. If the tutor is unable to deal with what's being asked of, then this will be passed to their Head of Year, and their Head of Year will see it through. If the concern is about an individual subject, then the idea is that you contact the subject teacher and the relevant head of department, and all this information can be found on the website. For most teachers, and your child will know the first initial and their surname, it's initial.surname@Chobham Academy. That's how you email them. Excuse the spelling mistake under surname there. So ESafety for parents. Again, I think this is really important to speak about. Going back a few years when I was at school, this wasn't such a huge issue and a huge thing to talk about. However, it is now, and we're going to go through a number of slides that help us address some of the things that we need to speak about. So obviously there's huge range of benefits of the internet, whether it's be researching for homework, communicating from people around the world, sharing resources and ideas. Something that's been really useful over lockdown was the educational activities and programs that we could put into place, from Oak National that the government launched to our work experience events that took place in the Olympic Park. And obviously, we have the shopping around the world without leaving your home. So there are a huge number of benefits to that. However, with those benefits, there are also some things we have to address, and that's linked to content, conduct and commercialisation, which is on our next slides. So they are the 4 C's of online safety that we work with. Contact is quite a prevalent one we have at school, especially with Snapchat, especially with WhatsApp. Children can be contacted by bullies or people who groom or seek to exploit them. I'll mention the bullying one initially. Please do monitor the WhatsApp and the Snapchat of your children. This is really important to do, to see how many groups they're in. We advise to students during tutor time that they shouldn't be in any groups of more than 3 people, as this can often lead to things being said about each other that we don't want necessarily to talk about. Along the lines of being able to be contacted by people who we don't want contacting that may seek to exploit them in a number of ways. We also have content, which is about age appropriate online activities. And unfortunately, if we don't have the right settings set on our students' online devices or on your child's online devices, then they can access things that we don't want them to see quite yet. Your children may also be at risk of their own behaviour and doing things which they wouldn't normally do and being coerced into things with regards to conduct. And then from a commercialisation perspective, young people can be unaware of the hidden costs of advertising apps, games and websites, which can end up costing you quite a bit. So please bear those 4 C's of online safety in mind. So from a Chobham perspective, obviously in school, we have a no phones policy. We supervise any ICT use in lessons. It's monitored. They're quickly filtered should a student use inappropriate or incorrect terminology within their language. We have an ICT curriculum along with an ICT policy. So that's within Chobham Academy. However, outside the academy, that's a lot more difficult to monitor. It's less supervised, it's less monitored. It's certainly not filtered by us. It might be by by Twitter and by Instagram and so on and so forth. However, it's still very difficult to filter. There's certainly no curriculum and certainly no ICT policy. So that's where the outside world becomes a little bit more challenging. So our advice to you is, firstly, to know what your children are doing online. They should be monitored at all times where possible, and ask them to show you how to use each of the applications. Obviously, there are many applications that come out and become more and more popular, and a lot of the time they are difficult to use. So get them to show you how to use them. Keep the computer or laptop or devices in the family room. Certainly don't let them take them to their own room, and certainly not to bed as well. As they get older, they tend to wake up during the night and go to these devices. And then learn how to use web history and engage with the technology. I think that's really important as well, is looking at what they're looking at online. So please do monitor that. Help your children to understand that they should never give out personal details online. Obviously, we educate them in this as well, but it needs to be reinforced at home. So this includes user IDs, email addresses, phone numbers, and definitely not pictures of themselves. If your child receives junk emails, and we all get them, and texts, remind them that they don't believe them, don't reply to them, and to speak with you first if they feel that it's necessary, and help them understand the risk of what happens if they send a picture of themselves to another person. Once it is out there, it's out there for good, and it's very difficult to get it back. I'm going to leave that up there for 30 seconds so you can take down the address, saferinternet.org.uk, and it's a device and resources and a parent's guide. So this will help you go through some of the things that can enable you to support them. Something I haven't mentioned there is gaming devices and the role that they play in disrupting a student's education, should I say. So again, that's something that will help you going forward. So wider safeguarding concerns. If you have a concern about your child's well-being, as mentioned previously, the form tutor is the first port of contact, and then the head of year if necessary. If, however, you have a safeguarding concern then about your child, then please do contact the safeguarding team, and that's at safeguarding@chobhamacademy.org.uk. Information on the safeguarding team can be found on page 5 of your child's planner, and then from page 6 to 10, there's also further information on how to look after mental health in particular, and addresses some of the information that I've already spoken about. Our behaviour for learning. So I'm going to run through this quickly. However, your tutor will address this in their presentation shortly. We have incredibly high expectations, as many of you know, of our students' behaviour within the academy, from a punctuality and attendance, which is spoken about. Uniform is without doubt the best in the borough from what I've seen from my travels as a PE teacher around to many schools looking at doing fixtures. I walk into a lot of the schools, and the expectations and the way students dress is really of high standard. Equipment, it's incredibly right to bring the correct equipment to lessons: pen, pencils, variety of colours, ruler, glue sticks, protractors. They're all needed within a classroom, and if we don't have those that equipment, then it slows down learning. Conduct in the classroom, we have a zero tolerance on students disrupting other people's education, and their own for that matter. However, when it comes to disrupting others, that's when we take it on and try to educate the student and your child to help support them. Conduct around the school, and particularly outside of school. Generally speaking, conduct around the school is high. Outside of school, when students, similar to their devices, have a bit more freedom, but behaviour can be quite challenging. So outside of school, when they're in school uniform, we have the highest of standards too. Rewards, your tutor is going to expand on shortly, and SIRC I'm going to expand on now, and that's the Student Information Resource Centre, and that's where students can find a range of information, from getting the correct uniform if they've got a slight issue with that, they've forgotten a piece of equipment. That's where the Student Information Resource Centre comes into play. Okay, that's the end of the PowerPoint. I am perfectly timed to lead into your tutor. Please obviously click off this, click onto the new link, and your tutor will begin in the next 2 or 3 minutes. If you've got any questions, please ask them. Thank you very much.
So I was saying I'm Miss Parker, and I'm going to go through the PowerPoint of what we're doing here in Chobham on Tutor Time. So on Mondays we hold assembly. So at the moment we're doing through Teams. On Tuesday we do reading and catch up with some attendance, and I will explain a little bit later. And Wednesday we do numeracy. On Thursday we do PSHE, that I will explain a bit more, and then on Fridays we do current affairs. But obviously during a COVID we have to modify we have to make some arrangements. So an assembly on Mondays we talk about a range of topics, and easy pen every week we have a different focus. Sometimes we do year groups, and sometimes we have our house assembly. We are part of the Mandela House. At the moment we deliver it through Steams. Like today we have our year assembly. There was very emotional, like they all have a lot of fun. So yeah, so we're talking about assembly, like health, lifestyle, respect and belief, and yeah, every week is a different one. Going to move to the next slide. So the weekly notices are on every day. I share the notices with the students, and on Tuesday, when it's the reading day, I check the equipment, the planners, and I address any question that they have. And yes, we share the detentions, and that's what we do on Tuesday. When I'm doing those tasks on Tuesday, they reading in silence because the academy believe that the importance of reading, like improved concentration, increase the vocabulary. That's why we encourage the students, and then we ask to bring a book. So if they don't have a book, they can go to the library. We have a library in the second floor, and they can come on Fridays, and then they can exchange the book and borrow our fantastic books that we have. So that's why it's very, very important for them to bring their own books. So the PACE program, which stands for Personal, Social, Health and Economy Education Program, that is the curriculum that we are following for year 7s, and it's split in term 1, term 2 and term 3. And at the moment we are focusing on on challenging stereotypes and raising aspirations. So it's a very interesting session because the students are participating and they share their ideas. It's very inspiring. Listen how they express themselves. And then on Friday, we do current affairs. So every Friday is a different topic, and then is always relevant and appropriate for the students. From my experience, I found the students really enjoy these sessions because they're asking questions that they have, and then sometimes they're not feeling comfortable asking, and it's a very good opportunity for discussion. So they really enjoy the current affairs sessions, and it's every Friday. The uniform. We're going to talk about the uniform now. We have high standards for uniform to use, and the students are presentable and professional. So they following the policy. No decorative attachments, so no beads, oversized clips. The hairband needs to be a maximum of 50 millimeters. Yeah, no makeup, no nail varnish, no nail extension, no fake eyelashes, no paint eyebrows. It needs to be one plain stud burns in the ears. No jewelry is allowed, and the shoe must be plain blank, and the laces as well. We are going to talk about the Chobham way. That is something that we encourage the students, and so that is what we want them to believe, how we want us to behave, and it comes between and then P is for professionals. We want the students to be professional all the time. We want them to arrive on time. We want them to bring their equipment, and that's part of the school policy. We want to take pride of their appearance, and then we set high standards, and we just want them to be the best possible version of themselves. That stands for P. R is for responsible. We want the students to be responsible of their own actions. We want them to be prepared for learning. We want them to be independent. We want them to celebrate outstanding. That's why celebration assemblies are so important for us, because we also wanted to celebrate what they're doing good. We want to celebrate, and we're going to encourage them to behave in that way. we want them to be optimistic, and then we want them to be positive, innovate, creative. We want them to support each other. That is something that is very, very important, and it's something that I promote in our form. We need to support each other. We need to respect. We are a little family in 7 and 6, and then we are here to help each other. U is for understanding. We want them to have empathy, consideration. We want them to support each other, but we have zero tolerance of bullying. Like we have a bullying policy, and it's zero tolerance. And then the D is for determinate. We want them to reach our cultural capital. I'm the Spanish teacher, and I always bring culture from different countries, from speakers, and sometimes we do a comparison what's happening in your culture, so we can see the difference, so we can be aware of other culture, and then we can also appreciate it. We want them to be resilient. We want them to, it's okay to have mistakes. It's okay. We just need to learn from them. And then we want them to have achieved high expectation, and we want to help them every step of the way. So the behavior for learning, we're focusing on positive behavior, and then every time that they participate, we encourage them, and it's okay to make a mistake. If you don't know this time, that is all right. So you need to participate. We want them to focus on the positive. And it's lovely to see how students are building the confidence through our behavior for learning policy. And so when the students are not behaving our expectation, that we get attention, that we get that warning, and then a sanction will be used. And if the students they don't correct appropriately. So this is our rewarding positive behavior for learning. So this is the school. So that you can get a bronze, a silver, a gold, or the house one. So for the house, and for the year is the Tutor Park 45. Yes, so we are promoting the students to participate, to get pillar points, and at the end of the year, if they are the top 45 students, they will go to Tutor Park, and they were very excited. So they're working very hard to get all those points. Lunch at Chobham, we get the student through enough time to eat lunch. They have 40 minutes. Yeah, they have 40 minutes, and then the lunch card can be top up in the school machines or via parent pay. And if you have any issue with parent pay, please contact me, and I will sort it out as soon as possible. Students should top their cards before school, not during breaks or recess, and packed lunch is of course welcome at school. And the homework, the students access their homework through Show My Homework, so they have their details that I gave into them, and also the parents can manage their homework. Homework will be set by the teacher. At this stage, that we get 30 minutes of what homework for no core subjects, and 60 minutes for math, English, and science. So students need to do the homework and give it to the teacher on time. If not, the attention will be given.